It's a very basic exercise. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of. Where what I'm doing is using basic conditional formatting. So I have this data here from 1927 to 2019, the yearly closing levels of S&P 500 index, right? So what I need to first calculate is my annual returns, which is pretty straightforward. I cannot calculate annual return for 2020 for 1927 because I don't have data for 1926. So the first cell will remain blank. But for the second cell, my annual return is simply the percentage change, which is equal to the 1928 number divided by the number in 1927, right? The ending value divided by the beginning value minus 1. And then you press enter. So what you see is 37.9%, which is basically the return S&P 500 has generated for you in the year 1928. And then you want to replicate this formula for all the cells below. The fastest and the quickest way is you come to the cell where my cursor is highlighted and you come to the bottom right hand side and you will find this plus line, this cross kind of a symbol. And then when you double click here, what Excel will do is replicate that formula for all the cells below. Right? That is the first step. I hope that is working for everyone. Where what you have done is calculated annualized percentage change for S&P 500 over the last almost 80 or 90 odd years. Now, once this is done, the more important task of this exercise is applying conditional formatting. And what we are going to do for that is we will select all these percentage change numbers. The good keyboard shortcut to do that is Control Shift down arrow. Right? Again, I'm repeating, if you're on the first cell and if you press Control Shift and down arrow, you will be able to select everything below. And once that is done, you click on Conditional Formatting. Within the Home tab, you'll find a tab called Conditional Formatting. You click on Highlight Cell Rules. Okay. Let's start with the negative ones. So there are some default ones which is saying less than or greater than or between. So what I want is if a number is less than 0, where I need to type 0 here. So I clicked on less than, and if I type 0, on the right hand side, the drop down list gives me an option, and I need to choose the red color. So light red filled with dark red text. And if I click OK, what Excel does is in whichever years the returns were less than 0, it highlights all those cells as a negative red number. Right? That's the first step. Now what I also want that the numbers are greater than equal to 0, it should be green. Right? Greater than equal to, not just greater than. So for this, if I click on Conditional Formatting and I click on Highlight Cell Rules, if you see there's no option called greater than equal to. Of course, there is greater than and there is equal to, but then the greater than equal to is not together. So for this, what I do is if I click on More Rules, right? If I click on More Rules, if you see the window here, the cell value is already there. But now if you see, if I click on this greater than option, I get an option here, greater than or equal to. So if I click on this greater than or equal to, what is my number? 0. Greater than equal to 0. That's positives. And then in terms of formatting, I click on Format and I click on Fill. and I choose green. So what I want is, if it is greater than equal to 0, it should be green in color. So when I do this, and I click OK, and I click OK again, you'll find that every number which is green is basically what is greater than equal to 0. So very useful, this conditional formatting, even in financial models or in any other KPI report you are creating. Is the first very basic form of conditional formatting clear with everyone? If you're all good, right? Ahmed, Samina, Jitendra, you can put it on the chat that is everything okay? Right, Hadi? Any questions, anyone at this point? Right, perfect.